All right. So in this video, we're going to look at this clip of Democratic Representative McGovern. And he's just so calmly, so methodically confronting this Republican-led House committee. We'll be watching the Republican chair and another member, Mr. Scott, who's let's just say he's a particularly vocal defender of the party line, get incredibly rattled and defensive when the whole conversation shifts. It goes from their talking points about spending cuts to the one thing they seem to refuse to discuss, the Jeffrey Epstein files. Watch for how their entire argument, their whole composure just completely falls apart when they're asked a very, very simple question about transparency. It leads to, just one of the wildest outbursts I think you'll ever see. All right, so, hey guys, before we get into the video, could you just do me a real quick favor? Just hit that like button. It helps a ton with the YouTube algorithm, pushes the video out to more people. And hey, if you're not subscribed yet, maybe think about hitting that subscribe button and ringing the notification bell. I really, really appreciate you all watching. As always, let's watch the whole video, and I'm going to give you my thoughts toward the end.
An Impoundment Control Act of 1974 that Congress set up more than half a century ago allows for this process of enacting rescissions of funds to be carried out. This is the same process that has played out in previous Congresses. It's nothing new. Yes, wasteful spending does occur in Washington. The American people know this to be true, and they want to see immediate change. Republicans in the People's House are the ones who are orchestrating that change with the rescissions package and rescissions packages to come. Americans want their tax dollars to be spent prudently and not chucked carelessly at things that do not align with their values and their own fiscal sensibilities. This is not a hard concept to grasp. Republicans understand it quite well, believe me. It's time that we get the rescissions package across the finish line and secure another significant win for the American people. They're looking to us to act. With that, I look forward to today's discussion, and I now yield to the ranking member, Mr. McGovern, for any comments he wishes to make.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. And before I go to my opening remarks, I just have a question. I've been following the media reports all day today as we've been awaiting this meeting today. It's been reported that many of the Republicans on the Rules Committee are concerned about the fact that the Jeffrey Epstein issue is not going away. And we had some reporting earlier that from Jake Sherman at Punchbowl that Speaker Mike Johnson and his leadership team were discussing offering an Epstein-related resolution to try to quell the furor of members of the House Rules Committee. Then there's another report that just came out that says that there may be two bills that are being brought before the Rules Committee. One on the rescissions, the rule on the rescissions package, and then a separate rule on Epstein. But we weren't noticed about the second rule, and so I was wondering if the chair could clarify the situation and maybe share with us the language on the Epstein matter. Is it binding? Is it not? Is it? So I yield to the chair if she could help enlighten us here.
Well, as I often do, I'm concerned about the framing of your question, saying there's a furor among the Rules Committee members.
I'm reading from the press.
From the press. Yeah. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. As I said, I question the press often for the way the press people characterize things, and I don't know about the furor among the members of the committee. We'll have some time as the meeting goes on for motions, so we'll be dealing with that later.
So, but I guess my request was whether you could share with us the language of. We're going to offer a motion, and I can tell you right now it's going to be the Kana Massey bill. but I think, you know, this is an important matter. Whether the chair would share with us the language so that we would have some understanding of what we're talking about here today.
Well, we'll look forward to getting your motion, and then we'll respond.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're going to require some time to be able to digest whatever it is, because, and again, in defense of the reporting that there was a furor, I mean, it is 6 o'clock, and we thought we would be meeting early this morning, so clearly there's been some angst amongst Republican members of this committee. But let me
don't flatter yourself too much. There's not a whole lot of angst over here.
yeah, it's curious that we're meeting at 6 o'clock.
We're looking forward to passing the rescission package. I can tell you that.
Yeah. So let me give my opening statement here, Madam Chair. What am I even supposed to say at this point? The way the Republican leadership is running this place is astonishingly bad. I mean, the incompetence is stunning. Trump said Republicans would pass a crypto rule in the morning yesterday, but instead you didn't pass it until midnight. Republicans held the vote open for 9 hours and 45 minutes, the longest vote in history, nearly 10 hours for what was supposed to be a 5-minute vote. I mean, how many minutes are in 5 minutes? Is that something Republicans are proud of? Holding a vote open for 10 hours so you can buy off the most extreme elements of your conference? And a nearly 10-hour vote is just the tip of the iceberg this week. Committee meetings noticed before you even know what you're meeting about, then postponed because your leadership is in some back room making God knows what secret deals. And another failed rule. How many times have we held Rules Committee hearings only to watch it all crash and burn on the House floor? Six failed rules under Speaker Mike Johnson alone, and 9 since Republicans took the majority. You know how many rules failed when I was chair of this committee? 0. You know how many rules failed under Speaker Nancy Pelosi? Also 0. I mean, this is aggravating to me because you are wasting our time. You guys are getting your whip counts from live floor votes. That's embarrassing. And it's disrespectful to us, to the process, and most of all to the people we represent. There are real crises demanding our attention, and you're wasting time playing petty games and arguing amongst yourselves. Honestly, if you were in the minority and watching this unfold, what would you say? How would you defend this unserious process? And I think we all know the answer. You would say it's embarrassing, and you would call us incompetent. And while we talk about your rescissions package, please spare us the lectures about cutting spending when this majority just added $4 trillion to the debt so you could give bigger tax breaks to billionaires. The big ugly bill you passed cost 450 times what is being saved with these rescissions. You passed your tax breaks for billionaires, and now you're pretending to pay for them. That's all this is. This bill slashes funding for public broadcasting. It guts global health programs. It undermines foreign aid, including to Ukraine. Actually, none of you even know what's fully in this. You know, we've seen the top lines, but even Republican senators are warning we won't understand the consequences until the damage is done. Make no mistake, Madam Chair, democracy is messy, but this is not the give and take of messy democracy. This is a dumpster fire. This is a tug of war between Republican incompetence and Republican extremism. And sadly, no matter which side wins, the American people lose. And finally, earlier this week, Madam Chair, I gave everyone on this committee a chance to go on record about releasing files related to Jeffrey Epstein. It was an up or down, yay or nay vote on a very simple amendment that says the Department of Justice must preserve and release all the files. That's it. And shockingly, all but one of you voted against releasing those files. The Speaker put out a statement, and I gotta love this. He put out a statement calling it an obscure stunt. I didn't realize offering amendments was obscure. I'm pretty sure we do that all the time. And when it comes to a stunt, nothing in my amendment would have prevented your crypto bills from moving forward. My amendment simply said that in addition to the crypto bills, we're also going to have a vote on releasing the Epstein files. And if it was such a stunt, why did Mr. Norman, one of the most conservative members of this committee, vote with us? I commend him for doing what was right, especially as President Trump has suddenly decided that this whole thing is a hoax, that the files don't exist, and that the people who believe this stuff are, quote, weaklings. But I frankly don't get why the rest of you voted no. Why would anyone vote against releasing files that we've been told, by the way, by the president, by your attorney general, by your director of the FBI, by his deputy director? We have been told by them that these files show the identities of those who knew that Jeffrey Epstein was sexually abusing children. So I hope all of you had a chance to consult your constituents and your conscience, and I hope that you will vote with us when I again offer a simple amendment to release the files. Because either one of two things is true. Either one of two things is true. Either there's nothing here, and Trump made all this up and conned you guys into believing it. In that case, why would you vote against releasing files that don't exist? Or there are files, and you guys want to keep them hidden because you're afraid what's in them. Which is it? Which is it? And with that, Madam Chair, I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. McGovern.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Scott,
I would just like to say, I look forward to an honest, not a political debate on the issue of the Epstein files. But when you look at the definition of all the files would include a list of the victims of the Epstein crimes. Yeah. And so I look forward to the debate. Now you had your time.
Oh.
You put legislation in it.
You can't censor me, Mr. Scott.
You put legislation in at 3:56 when the Rules Committee meets at 4, and we were already in this room when you signed it and put it in. It was a political stunt. That's all it was, and we're going to give you a solution to it.
And if you read the amendment, Mr. Scott, you would realize that there are exceptions to protect the victims of these crimes. And by the way, our language has been out.
No, there are not.
Let's-
There are not.
In the Massey counter bill, there are.
That is not what you offered. That is not what you offered. You said all the files, and we have a responsibility to protect the victims.
Mr.
And
Scott.
we know where you are.
Mr.
Yeah,
Scott.
we know where you are, Mr.
You're
Heidi.
the party of child victims. That's why you opened the border.
True.
That's why you opened the border. How many
Heidi-
children got raped coming across that border because of what the Democratic Party did?
Who voted to cover up the facts.
Okay. We have a hearing here, and we're going to follow our regular order. Thank you very much. If you, it would be better, Mr. Norman, if we just moved on and we came to you during the questioning. Would you indulge me? Would you indulge me? Thank you, Mr. Norman. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Without objection, any prepared statements our witnesses may have will be included in the record. I now welcome our...
Wow. Okay. So the second Mr. McGovern brings up the Jeffrey Epstein files, the whole vibe in that room it completely changes. The Republican chair goes from this, calm, composed leader talking about the Impoundment Control Act of 1974 to someone who's just, you can see it, she's so defensive and just trying to deflect. It played out exactly like you would expect, really. And I guess my whole point here is that this hearing, this is a perfect snapshot of the modern Republican Party, right? It's like you have this thin layer of procedural seriousness, this talk about fiscal responsibility, and the second they face any real accountability, it shatters. And underneath, you just see this chaotic mess, this incompetence, and I don't know, this really desperate need to hide something. Let's break it down a bit. The chair starts off talking about this rescissions package. She's saying Republicans are, making big changes and that Americans want their tax money spent carefully. It all sounds so official, but as McGovern points out, this is the same party that just added, $4 trillion to the debt to give tax breaks to billionaires. So, come on. This whole thing about fiscal responsibility feels a lot more like political theater. It's performative. It's like bragging that you used a coupon on a gallon of milk right after you went out and bought a Ferrari you can't afford. The scale is just, it's absurd. But okay, the Epstein thing, that's the real core of it, right? McGovern asks this. It's a really simple question, just based on stuff he's read in the press about a possible amendment. And look at her reaction. Just watch it again if you have to. She doesn't answer at all. She immediately gets defensive about how he's framing the question, and then she, attacks the press. That is such a classic move. I mean, when you don't have a good answer, what do? You attack the person asking, or you attack the source. You can just tell she's rattled. And then McGovern just lets them have it. And honestly, good for him. He points out the sheer incompetence, like, 9 failed rules. A vote that was supposed to take 5 minutes took 10 hours. And he says, you know how many rules failed when I was chair of this committee? 0. You can just hear the frustration in his voice. It's real, because they're wasting everyone's time with this stuff. Okay. But the part that really says everything, the moment that just exposes the whole game, it's that exchange with Mr. Scott at the end. McGovern lays out the 2 possibilities for the Epstein files, right? Either, Trump just made it all up and tricked them, or the files are real and they are terrified of what's inside. It's a totally logical question. And Mr. Scott's response, he just yells that it's a political stunt. And then you get the absolute kicker. He says he can't support the amendment because, get this, all the files would include a list of the victims. And McGovern immediately calls him on it. He points out the amendment obviously has exceptions to protect victims, which is, standard. It's how you do these things. So with his entire argument just poof, gone, what does Mr. Scott do? He just melts down. I mean, completely loses it. He starts screaming, "That's why you opened the border!" How many children got raped coming across that border because of what the Democratic Party did? I mean, it's genuinely wild to watch. In my opinion, that is maybe the single most desperate, most pathetic deflection I have ever seen. He had no argument left, 0. So he just starts screaming about a totally unrelated right-wing talking point. I mean, the mask was gone. He ripped it off and threw it across the room. It just shows they have no good reason to hide these files. Their only move is to get hysterical and, pivot to the border. It feels like a textbook admission of guilt. I mean, it sure looks like they're protecting perpetrators, not victims. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And while you're down there, if you could do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button and maybe give the video a thumbs up too. I really appreciate you guys. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.